Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Today, inshallah, we will finish section 1.1 and start section 1.2. If you remember, in the previous class, we have introduced the coordinate plane. What is the coordinate plane? Who can tell me what is the coordinate plane? What is it?
The X and Y.
The XY plane,
Yes.
the Cartesian plane. It is, of course, the plane that formed by two axes, the x-axis and the y-axis. And each point in this plane is represented by an ordered pair. And every ordered pair of real numbers is a point on the plane. Also, in the previous class, we have studied the distance formula and how to use it. Today, inshallah, what is remaining is the midpoint formula. It is a very easy one. So if you remember, Shabab, we have mentioned what is the coordinate plane, how we use it, what are the points in this plane, the coordinates of the points, the x coordinate, the y coordinate, and how to plot a point. If you have a point, if you want to draw or plot a point on the XY plane, how to do that. Any point, when we say a point on the x-axis, it means that the coordinates are a and 0, x and 0, whatever and 0. And on the y-axis, it is 0 and v, 0 and y, and so on. You also have studied in the previous class how to sketch regions, set of points on the graph. On the XY plane. The Pythagorean theorem, also this is what we did in the previous class. The distance formula, here it is, which is of course a direct result of the Pythagorean theorem. If you have 2 points, to find the distance between them, just subtract the x coordinates from each other and the y coordinates from each other. Is it the same, Shabab, if we write it here like x1 minus x2 all squared under the square root? Is it the same?
No. Yes.
Is it the same?
Yes.
The distance from A to B is the distance from B to A. This is one reason. If you start from here to there. The other reason is this, Shabab. You know that, let's take one A and B. It will be easier for you. You know that A minus B, it is not B minus A. Is this correct? What is the relationship between them? A minus B, it is the negative of B minus A, right?
Yes.
So when you square now, what will happen? You will take the negative. No, there is no absolute value. You take the square of both sides. It's not, Shabab, just when you square absolute value, from where you bring this? Just square both sides. When you square both sides, negative 1 to the power 2. 1 multiplied by B minus A squared. So A minus B squared is equals to B minus A squared. This is why x2 minus x1 squared is the same as x1 minus x2 squared. Try that when you find the distance between these 2 points. Try to calculate it like this, 2 minus 4 or 4 minus 2. It is the same when you square. Look here, if it is 2 minus 4 all squared, what it will be? Negative 2 squared, which is 4, the same result. And we have solved also with you this example in the previous class, which point is closer to this point. Just you will find the distance from B to A, then from Q to A. The smaller one will be the closer. We have solved, I think, also with you this exercise, the recitation exercise in the previous class. And I think I will skip this. It is a direct application. Find the distance between this point and this point. Just this minus this all squared, this minus this all squared under the square root, and you will have an absolute value. He told you here that x is negative, so when you apply the absolute value, you can write it without absolute value. This is the answer. What we want to solve, I will solve with you a recitation exercise that is a combination of the distance formula and the midpoint formula. So let's go to the midpoint formula. What is the midpoint formula? From where it comes? I know, ya Shabab, that most of you, they know what is the midpoint between 2 points. So here, for example, we have a point here, A here, x1 and y1, and here b, which is x2 and y2. What is the midpoint between them? The midpoint is this point here. So the question is, what is x and what is y? We just make a notation here, x, y. The question, what will be the coordinates of the midpoint? You don't know this from before? Yes.
It is x plus x divided by 2.
So what is the x coordinate here? x1
And
plus the another one
x2
over, and the same for the y coordinates.
yes.
You're right. These are the coordinates of the midpoint. Now, from where? Why? The question you should now ask yourself, and from where it comes? Why it is like that? In fact, if you think about it, what is the midpoint? What do we mean by the midpoint? The midpoint, it is the point that is half distance between these 2 points. All right. If you draw a line between these 2 points, which is the distance between them, this point should be at the middle of that line. Okay. So now, in fact, you can do that by calculating the horizontal and the vertical. What is x? Here it is x1. Here it is x that we don't know what is it. Here it is x2. In fact, the distance from this point to this point, it should be the same from here to here. So the horizontal distances should be the same. This is why we should have x minus x1 equals to x2 minus x1 minus x. We want to find what is x. This, what is this? Now what you will do, you will have you have an equation, solve it for x. Move x1 to here, add a positive x to both sides. You will have 2x equals to what? x1 plus x2. Divide both sides by 2 to solve it for x. Here we are. So x is x1 plus x2 over 2. And similarly, you can obtain y by the same way. Now let me ask you this question because it is important. I have noticed that many students are mixing up between equidistance and midpoints. Let me give you the formula at the beginning, and then I will ask you the question. So this is the formula, Shabab. The midpoint of a line segment, we mean by a line segment here, apart from a line, the line from A to B. So you have 2 points, the midpoint between them is this. These are the coordinates of the midpoint. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say we have a point here A, and I have another point here B, and the distance from here, let's call this M. The distance from here to here is the same as the distance from here to here. Is M is the midpoint between them? So now the distance from M to A is the same from M to B. Is M is a midpoint between them? Why? So they should be on the same line. This is what you are saying. So if I have A here and B here, and I have a point here C, is this a midpoint? Aha, so the midpoint is what? It is a point at the middle distance between, at the halfway between A and B, between these 2 points. So now, is this now at the what is the distance between A and B? It is not these 2 lines. The distance between A and B, it is the straight line that joining them, this line segment. This is the distance between A and B. The midpoint is here. So this is not a midpoint. This is equidistance. It has the same distance from A and B, but it is not at the middle between them. It is not the middle point of these 2 points. Great. Find the midpoint of the line segment joining these 2 points. What is it? Who can tell me?
1 and 3.
1, 3, you are right. It is 1 and 3. What do you expect if you sketch this one and you plot this point and you plot this point? They must be on the same line. Look, they are. If they are not, you did a mistake, even in calculating the midpoint or in sketching the plotting the points. Let's apply the midpoint for something. Of course, it is easy. You can apply it directly if you. We will not ask you to find just directly the midpoint. We will ask you to apply it with other problems. Let's read this problem. Show that The quadrilateral with vertices B1 and 2, 4 and 4, 5 and 9, 2 and 7 is a parallelogram. I think you have here some new vocabulary. By proving that its two diagonals bisect each other. So did you understand what is this question is about? We have quadrilateral, which is any geometrical shape with four sides. Any geometrical shape with four sides. This is called quadrilateral. Now, vertices. These are the vertices. These are vertices. The heads of this quadrilateral. Now, what we want to show, we want to show that it is parallelogram. What is the parallelogram? It is the geometrical shape that has this specific feature. It has two lines, of course, that they are equal to each other, correspond parallel to each other, and two another lines. But the main feature of this parallelogram is this. It's two diagonals. This is a diagonal. This is another diagonal. Its two diagonals bisect each other. What we mean by bisect? Not cross. These two lines are crossing each other, but they are not bisecting each other. They dividing each other into two equal parts. So this part will be the same as this part. This part will be the same as this part. This is the meaning of bisect each other. Okay. So how to show that? How to show that the diagonals of this parallelogram bisecting each other? Yes. Find the distance between 2 points. Which points? I have 4 here. How can I know that the points that is? So, what should be the first step to do? Plot the points, draw these points, and after that you will decide. So the first thing that you need to do is to plot these points. Okay, here we are. This is the point P, which is 1 and 2, 4 and 4, 5 and 9, 2 and 7. Now, how to show that the line PR, which is this diagonal, this is diagonal, this is the another diagonal. How to show that they are bisecting each other? You need to show that this distance is the same as this, and the same distance, this is the same as this. But this is not, of course, will not be practical. But if you think about the midpoint, it will be so easy. So the midpoint between the point P and R should be here. And it should be the same as the midpoint between S and Q. So the idea of solving, first of all, sketch, or let's say plot the points. The second is what? Find the midpoint between the vertices that are at the end of the diagonal. So we will find here the midpoint of what? P and Q, P and R. What is it between P and R?
3 and 5.
It is 3 and? No.
3 and 11 over
3 and 11 over 2. Here it is. It is 3 and 11 over 2. Now we expect this is the midpoint of the diagonal PR. We expect that the midpoint also between them of the diagonal SQ is what? It is the same. It should be the same, and it is the same. So this proof that they are bisecting each other, and the shape that we have, the quadrilateral that we have, is a parallelogram. Great. This is the summary of section 1.1. What you need mainly to remember from this section is the distance formula and the midpoint formula, and how to use them. Of course, the formulas you have an idea about them before. Let's see how can you use these two formulas to solve this exercise. Please, in your notes, try to solve this question. We just have finished now the distance formula, the midpoint formula. Imagine that you have this question in the exam. We are just a few days from the major exam 1. Try to imagine now you are in the exam hall and try to apply the same environment. Try to solve it. Try to find a way to solve it. Read it, understand it, ask yourself, what do I have? What do I want to find? Use what you have to find what you want. Do you think that it is D? What is D? -7 or 9. Tell me about the plan. What is the plan? What you did?
I add 5 to the point 1 and 4.
You add 5. Why you add 5 to the point 1 and 4?
It's from the midpoint, 5 units from the midpoint.
So are they on the same line? No.
No.
You read the question carefully. Who sketched the? You can, Shabab, you can solve it without plotting the points. But I think plotting the points, just roughly graph the sketch the graph, you may understand it better. Who can tell me, Shabab, who understand the problem? Is it clear for you what you should to do? So what do we have here? We have a point that is 1 and 4. Let me make a graph for you. I think it will be better to draw. It is not necessary step, but I believe that it will be more clear for you. So we have here a point that is 1 and 4. Let's say this is 1, this is 4. So this is the point 1 and 4. Let's call it A, which is 1 and 4. 5 units from the midpoint of the line segment joining the points. So I have another 2 points. They are what? 3. Let's say this is 2, this is 3. 3 and -2. So this is 3 and -2. Let's call it B. 3 and -2. The another point is what? X and whatever and 4. Where it will be? No, he said the point. It will be, this is 4, ya Shabab. X is, Y is 4. So it could be here, here, any place here. Something and 4. So let's say we don't know where it is exactly because I don't know what is X. So let me say that it is here. It is here. So this is the point. Let's call it C. This point is it is what? X and 4. I'm sure that it is on the same line with this point. So the midpoint is between which points that he is talking about here? The midpoint of what? It is between C and B. So the midpoint is of this line segment. So let's say it is here. This is the midpoint. So this is the midpoint. Let's call it M. So the midpoint between this point and this point. Now, let's read the question again. If the point A is 5 units from the midpoint. So the distance between A and M is what? 5. You know now why you shouldn't do that, adding and subtracting. No, it is not about that. This is if they are on the same horizontal line or the same vertical line. Now here, when I say that I am 5 kilometers from you, this means that the distance between me and you, it is 5. Okay? So now the distance between A and M is 5. The question is what? What is X? What will be X? How to find X? So what we need to find first to find X?
Find the midpoint.
The midpoint, you're right. You need first to know what is the midpoint. If you know what is the midpoint, what you will do? You will find the distance between A and M and put it equals to 5. So let's find the midpoint. What is the midpoint, guys? So this is the first work that we need to do. Let me use this. The midpoint is what? X plus 3 over 2. And what is the Y coordinates? 4 plus -2 is 2. 2 over 2, 1. This is the midpoint. Now, according to the given, what we have? The distance between A and M is equals to what? 5, right? What is the distance between A and M? It is X The formula يا شباب, the distance formula, x plus 3 minus 1 all squared, the x coordinate minus the x coordinate, plus the y coordinate 1 minus 4 all squared. This will be, must be equals to what? To 5. Now we have what? We are done now. Just you have now an equation. What you need to do, you need to solve this equation for what? For x. You need to find what is x. So what you will do, what is the first step? Square both sides, ya shabab. I want to get rid of the radical, so I will square both sides. What we will get after squaring both sides? We will get the radical will gone, and we will have here what? X. Let me continue here. It will be x plus 3 minus 2 over 2 all squared, plus 1 minus 4 is what? Negative 3 all squared equals to 25. Let's continue here. Now it will be x plus what? X plus 1 all squared. Sorry?
X plus 3 minus 1.
Minus 2. Why?
Under the square root.
Yes, x plus 3 over 2 and 1. So it is minus what? Minus 1. So it will be, you will make them a single fraction. Now this is x plus 1 all squared over 2 all squared. It will be what? 4 plus 9 equals to 25. And this will, let me do it step by step, Shabab, for those who cannot be able to follow us. So this will be like this, x plus 1 all squared. This will be now x plus 1 all squared over 4 equals to what? What will be this? 25 minus 9, 16. Now what you will do, you multiply both sides by what? You will isolate it. This is power equation now. This is section P8. So this will be equals to 64. What you will do, you will take the square root of both sides. Now, when we take the square of both sides, it is not like squaring. When we square, we don't have absolute value, but here we will get absolute value. This will be the absolute value of x plus 1 equals to what? 8, the square root of 64. This means that what? X plus 1 is 8 or negative 8, which means that x is what? 8 minus 1, which is 7. You can write it. Why not? To make sure that you are doing this in the right way. Or negative 8 minus 1. So this means that x is 7 or x is negative 9. It is an interesting question. If there is a difficult part, ya shabab, if there is a one that is difficult, where it is? Where is it? Forget, you can solve it without a graph, by the way. It is just for you to visualize the problem, to see what you have. In fact, you have a midpoint between 2 points. You should find this midpoint. This is the idea. So the first thing that you should do is to find the midpoint between 3 and negative 2, x and 4. After finding the midpoint, find the distance between the point 1 and 4 and that midpoint. That's it. I think it is time to say goodbye for this is an easy one. I will leave it for you as an exercise. And you have many solved exercises and many old exam questions that you can practice and solve. We will see that the midpoint of the x-intercept. This question, by the way, it is from 1.1 and 1.2, the first one. You need to, after 1.2, you will be able to solve this. So let's go to 1.2, section 1.2. Section 1.2 is about what? Do you know what is it about? If you know what is it about, there is no need to study it. So here we are. Let me first share section 1.2. Good. Section 1.2 is about graphs of equations in 2 variables and also about circles. So after finishing this section, you will be able to graph equations We will not focus too much on this part because we will study it again in chapter 2 with details there. Then we will learn how to find intercepts. We will focus on this. You have to know how to find the intercepts, what they are and how to find them, and how to find the equations of circles, and how to graph circles, and how to determine the symmetry property. Maybe next class, not in this class. So we need to achieve these 3 objectives today in this section. So let me ask you the question. What is this, Shabab? What you are looking at?
Linear equation.
This is linear equation? No, it is not linear.
Straight line.
It is not straight line. Y equal x
Oh, this is
squared plus
equation.
1. What is this? First of all, when you look at it, this is equation, right? What is special about this equation? Is it like the equations that we studied in B8, for example? Abbas, what you say? 2 variables. It is equation in with 2 variables. So when you have equation with 2 variables, it expresses a relationship between 2 quantities. This is about what is the relationship between x and y. Who can tell me what is the solution of this equation? Yes. What do we mean by solution, Shabab, of an equation? All the values that satisfy this equation, that make it true. What are the values that make this true? 0, x equals 0, and if x is 0, y will be what? So what is the first solution? 0 and? So the solutions of this equation, because it is of 2 variables, will be ordered pair, will be points in the plane, in the xy plane. If you put x equals to 1, what will be y? It will be 2. If you put it 2, what it will be? It will be 5, right? If you choose 3, 10. If you choose negative 1, it will be 2, negative 2, and so on. You can choose any. X here is any real number. The domain is any real number, and y will depend on x. So if you plot this point, what do you think? What we will have? Let's plot these points. 0 and 1. This is 0. This is 0 and 0. The 0 and 1. Here it is. This is 0 and 1. This is the first point. The second point is what? 1 and 2. Here it is. 1 and 2. The second one, 2 and what? And 5. Then 3 and what? 10. Let's go negative 1. Negative 1 and what? And 2. Negative 2 and what? 5 and negative 3 and what? 10. The same. Now connect. Of course, if you calculate all the points and you plot all the points, this is the shape that you will have at the end. This part here, if you connect all the points, if you draw all the points, this part, that the shape that we are doing now or sketching now, or is called the graph of this equation. In fact, what is it? It is all the solutions. It represents all the possible solutions for this equation. And because we have 2 variables here, we have infinitely many solutions, infinitely many points on this graph. Now, is the point 3 and 10 is on this graph? How to know that it is on this graph? Both x equals 3. Is y it will be 10? Yes. Now, is this point 3 and 1, is it on this graph? No. It is not, because if you put x equals to 3, you will not get y equals to 1. So we have here points that they are not on the graph, like here. These are not on the graph. And we have points that they are on the graph. And this is what is called the graph of the function. So if you have a point x and y, we say that it satisfies the equation if it makes it true. It makes the equation true, then it satisfies. What we mean by satisfy? Make it true. Okay. Now, for example, this is an example about what I told you about. 3 and 10 satisfy this equation, while 1 and 3 does not satisfy. The definition of the graph. What is the definition of the graph? Like the one that we did before, like this one. What is this? What is the definition? It is the set of all the points in the graph, in the plane. It is the set of all the points x, y, and in the coordinate plane that satisfy the equation. This leads us to the fundamental principle of analytic geometry. What is the analytic geometry? I think you know what is the geometry. The analytic geometry, it is geometry and algebra together. When we combine algebra with geometry, we have what is called analytic geometry. What is the main principle or the fundamental principle of analytic geometry? A point x and y is on the graph of any equation if and only if it satisfies that equation. If it is satisfy the equation, it is on the graph. If it is on the graph, it will satisfy the equation. If it is not satisfy, it is not on the graph, it will not satisfy the equation, and so on. Sketch the graph. How to sketch the graph of any equation if you don't know how it looks like? Again, ya shabab, we will not focus on the graphing too much in this section. Just it is introduction. If you have an equation and you want to sketch the graph, what will be the plan? Yes. Yes, you are right. The first step is to solve it for y. So it will be y, move y to here, bring 3 to there. It will be 2x minus 3. Is that right? Now solve it for y. You are right. Then, yes, what you said?
Choose points. Choose
Plotting points. So if you know, if you want to sketch the graph of any equation that you don't know how its graph is, use what is called plotting points. By plotting points, we mean what? Make a table of values and then plot the points. Draw the points. Let's start. طبعا x here could be any real number. Choose any number you want. But it is natural to think about 0, 1, -1, 2, -2, and so on. So if x is -1, what you will have? Y will be what? -5. If x is 0, -3. Now you will have these points on the plane. What you will do now, you will go to the plane and sketch these points. Draw them. Draw this point, this point, this point, this point, and so on. It is not necessary to draw this number. It depends on, are you sure or not? So let's draw these points. Look, this point, for example, it is negative. This is 0, 0 and -3. Here it is. This is 0 and -3. This is 1 and -1. This is, of course, -1 and 5, and so on. If you can notice, ya shabab, what is the graph of this equation? It is a line. It should be clear for you from the beginning, because this is what? Linear equation. This is a first degree equation. In fact, when you have a line, this will be our subject in 1.3. When you have a line, it is enough to have 2 points. 2 points are enough. If you know this point and this point, just connect them and you'll have your line. Let's take another example. Sketch the graph of this equation. Again, the main idea to sketch such graphs is to use plotting points. If you don't know how they looks like, we will learn in chapter 2 how to do this easily without plotting points. So if you want to plot points, again, choose some values for x, find y, plot the x and y, and then plot these points, connect them, join them by using a smooth curve or a curvy graph. Yes. Yes. This is what we will, what I told you about. We will study this inshallah in chapter 2. Yes, in chapter 2 we will learn that you will draw this one. You know how to sketch the graph of this one, which is parabola. This graph, shabab, is called parabola. I think it is mentioned here, and it will be shifted down. This is y equal x squared. It will be like here. Now it is shifted down. It will be just shifted to 2. So it will be shifted down like this. Okay. This is not our subject, as I said before. Just here. You need to know how to find the intercepts and to plot points, of course, if you want. Sketch the graph of the lovely function, the absolute function, the absolute value. Again, you can use plotting points ideas, the same idea, some values for x, find y, plot these points. This is what you have. You can notice here the difference between this and x squared. The graph there is curvy. Here it is straight. We will see that also in details later. Example 4 about using calculators for graphing. It is not included, of course. We are not using the calculators in this course, but of course you can. You need to learn how to do that because you will use it in other courses. The intercepts, the second part of this section is the intercepts. What is the intercepts? The x-intercepts and y-intercepts. The x-intercepts are these points. These points are the x-intercepts, these. So what they are? They are the x-coordinates of points where the graph intersects the x-axis. The y-intercepts are the points at which the graph intersects the y-axis. The question is how to find them. How to find, if you have the equation, how to find them from the equation. How to find these points.
Draw 3 or 4.
Both y equal to find the x-intercept or the y-intercept. Let's ask this. How to find the x-intercept? Both y equal 0. And to find the y-intercepts, both x equal what? Why?
Because all the points in x-axis are...
The x-intercepts are on what? Where they are? The x-intercepts are on the... What is the equation of the x-axis?
Whatever, 0.
What is special about the x-axis? What do we have in the x-axis? Wherever you are on the x-axis, y is what?
0.
Here y is 0, y is 0, y is 0 along x-axis. Similarly, along the y-axis, x is 0. So the equation of the y-axis is x equals 0. The equation of the y-axis, the x-axis is y equals 0. So this is how to find them. To find the x-intercept, both y equals 0 and solve it for x. To find the y-intercept, both x equals 0 and solve it for y. Example. Find the x-intercept and y-intercept of this equation. Which one is easier, by the way, to start with? The x-intercept or the y-intercept? Which one is easier to start with? No, the y-intercept. The y-intercept is easier. Why y-intercept is easier? Just put x equal to what? What you will get? Y equals to negative 2. So it is easier. Now, if you want to find the x-intercept, what you need to do? You need to put y equal to 0, then solve it for x. You will have power equation. Square both sides, take the square root of both sides. You will have x equals positive or negative square root of 2. We have two x-intercepts here. If you want to write them as points, what you will say? Square root of 2 and what? And 0. Negative square root of 2 and 0. So these are points. The points of intersection or the x-intercepts as points. Similarly, if you want to find the y-intercepts, you will set x equals 0 and solve for y. So now, similarly here, we have one x-intercept here. What is it? 0 and negative 2. X is 0, y is negative 2. And here they are. If you sketch the graph, these the points of intersection with the x-intercept, and this is the y-intercept. How to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this equation? By the way, this equation is for an equation of ellipse. You will study this in MATH002. Both x equal to 0, you will find the y-intercepts. Both y equal to 0, you will find the x-intercept. So to find the x-intercepts, both y equal to 0. And here we are, x squared equals to 9, x equals positive or negative 3. To find the y-intercepts, you will put x equal to 0, y will be positive or negative 2. Example 7 is not included. I don't remember what is it about, but it is included, not included anyway. It is excluded. The second part or the third part of this section is circles. What is the circle? What we mean by a circle? Yes, really? Yes, I know that it is a circle. Yes, the circle is a circle. Yes.
That have the same shape that have vertex.
You are right, but according to the this is geometry, purely geometry. How to relate it to algebra? Yes.
Points have the same size as the line around the one point.
Yes, exactly. The circle is shape. Any shape, by the way, from now and on, when we talk about any geometrical shape, it is set of points. Any shape, it is set of points. So the circle is what? Look at the definition. The circle is the set of all the points in the coordinate plane, in the xy plane, that lie a given distance from a given point. They have the same distance from some fixed point. The given distance is called the radius, And the given distance is called the radius. The given point is called the center. So what is special, Shabab, about this? Is a circle. What is special about this circle? These are the points. Where is the circle? Is it this one? Here is the circle. The circle here. No, the circle is these points. These points are the circle. Now this point, it is not on the circle. This is not on the circle. This is on the circle. So it is the set of all the points that what? That they have the same distance. This is what is special about the circle. They have the same distance from the point at the middle of this circle, which is called, of course, the center. So to understand it very well, what we will do, we will take it and draw it on the XY plane. Without the XY plane, it is just a shape without no corners, without no angles. You can call it whatever you want. Now, let's say the point that he's talking about, it is H and K. So this is H, the X coordinate, the Y coordinate is K. Now let's call the radius, the first letter from R, radius. This will be the radius between this one. This is a point, any point on the X, on the circle. The question now is what? What will be the equation of this circle? To know what is the equation of this circle, you need to use the information and the ideas that we learned before. What we said, if you take whatever the points that you will take, the distance will be the same between it and between the center. Is that right? What is the distance between the center and this point? It is R. It is R. So according to the distance formula, what is this R? Here it is. It is X minus H all squared, Y minus K all squared. Right? Now square both sides. What do we have? What is this? This is the equation of what? Of a circle centered at H and K with radius equals to what? To R. What is this? If we have a line that is joining between 2 points here, like this, what is this called? I think it is mentioned. Yes, I mentioned it. Diameter. This is called diameter. The diameter is what? Is the double. It is a line that joining 2 points on the circle and passing through the origin, passing through the center, of course. So, in general, an equation of a circle with center H and K and radius R is this. And the special case, when the center it is 0 and 0, when this is 0 and this is 0, it will be x squared plus y squared equals to r squared. This is when the circle is here. The center is here at the origin. This form, ya Shabab, is called the standard form because we have another form that is called the general form. So this is the standard form of the equation. Now, this is, ya Shabab, the beauty of analytic geometry. When you have the equation, you can imagine, you can know how it looks like, how the circle. Let me give you an example. X squared plus y squared equals to 25. What will come to your mind? A circle. First of all, when you see x squared plus y squared equals to 25, it is a circle. You will imagine, you will draw inside your head a circle inside your mind. And not only a circle, it is a circle centered at the origin and with radius equals to what? This is similar to when I mentioned the name of one of your friends, and when I mention his name, you will immediately you will remember his face and his of course features. So this is what we have. This is a circle, and of course I assume that if I give you the circle without mentioning the equation, you will say that, oh, it is an equation that its equation, it is a circle that its equation is x squared plus y squared equals to 25. Now, who can tell me what is the second equation here? This equation is for which circle? It is for a circle what? This one. I'm asking about this one now. It is a circle centered at what? No. Be careful. X and Y. 2 and what is the radius?
5.
The radius is 5. And you can, of course, sketch this, draw this circle. Okay, now let's take some specific examples about the circle. Find the equation of a circle. I will describe it now for you, and you need to give me the equation. Find an equation of the circle with radius 3 and center 2 and -5. What will be the equation? Yes,
X -5.
X, no,
-2.
X minus 2 all squared
All squared. X
plus
plus 5. All
plus
squared,
plus what?
5.
Y plus Y. يا شباب, it is X minus H all squared Y minus K. This is the standard form of the equation, equals to R squared. Now, what is this? This is H, this is K, and this is R. So what it will be? X minus 2 all squared plus Y minus 5, it will be plus 5 all squared equals what? 9. You are right. Now, what about the second one? Find an equation of the circle that has the points 1 and 8, 5 and -6 as the end points of a diameter.
Find the midpoint distance.
This
and
is
the
part
origin.
A. Now, for part B, is it mentioned here again? No. Let me here. Let's solve B now. Yes, how to do that, ya shabab?
The midpoint is the center.
The midpoint is the center. So what is the midpoint? 3 and 1. Here it is. You got it. This is the center. Now, what else? We need to find H and R. This is the equation. The equation will be like this, equals to R squared. I obtained H, by the way. Now it is X minus 3 all squared plus Y minus 1 all squared equals to R squared. I need to know what is R squared.
The distance.
The distance will give you the
The
diameter.
midpoint and one of the.
Exactly. Let me show you the graph. This is, ya shabab, the 2 points that they are given. And the diameter will, of course, it is the line between them and that passes through the origin. So this is through the center. So we did find the center. This is the center. 3 and 1. Now you can find the radius by 3 methods. The first method is to find the distance between this point and this point, or between this point and this point, or between this point and this point, and then divide by what? By 2. And this is, I think, what he did. R squared is the distance. No, he did find it between these 2 points. R squared is the distance. He directly used R squared. Of course, you can find R at the beginning, then square. He just make it square both sides, you will get this. And of course, now R squared is 53. So now R, in fact, is the square root of 53. Is it clear how to find the equation of the circle if you have some given information about it? Okay, who can tell me, Shabab, what is special about the circle if it is tangent to the x-axis? What we mean by tangent? When they touch each other at one point, only one single point. This is tangent. Tangent, it means touching. So when the circle touch the x-axis at one point only, what will happen? Yes.
Or the radius will equal K.
The radius will be equals to?
K.
You are right, mashallah, yes, but not K exactly. What about if the circle is in the 4th quadrant? If the circle is here, for example, is it going to be K?
Oh, the absolute value.
The absolute value. So in this case, R will be the absolute value of K. If it is Y, we will see that in the next class, inshallah. The time's up. And see you, inshallah, Shabab, tomorrow. Don't forget, what do we have tomorrow? We have a